Welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about matter. What is matter? Okay. We're going to do a couple little demonstrations. Okay. Remember, you probably already know a lot about matter. Matter comes in three forms: solids, liquids, and gases. Okay. But let's talk about matter and how do we know if something is matter? Okay. Matter is anything that has two things. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. And if you take up space, we say that you have volume, okay? Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. And then matter is made out of atoms. Matter is made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of matter. Sometimes we call atoms the building blocks of matter. So all of these atoms come together and they make matter. But what does this mean if something has mass and takes up space? Let's look at these examples. Let's start with our solids. Okay, this is a block of wood. And there's plenty of other solids you can look into this classroom, okay? So, is this an example of matter? Does it have mass? Does it take up space? Let's see. Here I have an electronic scale. We are going to use grams. We measure mass in grams. That is the scientific unit. If I put this block of wood on there, what is the mass of this block of wood? 165 grams. So, does this block of wood have mass? Of course. So, this block of wood has mass. Does it take up space or have volume? How can I calculate the volume of this? It kind of looks like something I saw in math class, right? How can I calculate the volume? Remember this in math class? Okay, I can take a ruler, and remember in science we don't use inches, we use centimeters, or millimeters in this case. But I think I measured this in centimeters. I can do length times width times height, okay? And the volume of this block of wood is 210.7 cubic centimeters. So this block of wood has a volume, or it takes up 210.7 cubic centimeters of space. So this block of wood has mass and takes up space. This is an example of matter. All solids are matter. Matter is made of atoms. So inside this block of wood, we have atoms, okay? And in solids, the atoms are packed together closely. So, this is an example of matter. Now let's move to our friends, liquids, like this water here. All right, do liquids count as matter? Are liquids capable of having mass and taking up space? Let's see. First, I'm going to put an empty beaker. An empty beaker with no water in it is 221 grams. Okay. And then if I put water in the beaker, let's see what happens. Oh, wow. The number increased. So that definitely tells me liquids have mass. Okay, coffee, soda, juice, okay, liquid mercury. All liquids have mass. But do liquids take up space or have volume? If you look at the side of this beaker, it tells you the volume or how much space it takes up in milliliters. This amount of water takes up 200 milliliters of space. So the water's volume is 200 milliliters. Water has mass. Water takes up space. So water is an example of matter. Matter is made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of matter. So in this solid, we saw atoms that look like this. Inside this liquid water, the atoms look like this. They're a little farther apart. Hopefully you guys know by now that water is called H2O in chemistry. It has a formula of H2O. So this water, I know you can't see it with your eyes, looks like this. These are water molecules, okay? And each one of these is an atom, okay? So remember, water is H2O, that is water. And we'll talk more about what this means later. But that H means this water has hydrogen atoms. And the O, you probably already know this, means that there are oxygen atoms. So remember, matter is made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit or the building blocks of matter. Okay, so solids are matter, liquids are matter. Now let's go to our good friends, the gases. Now, here's a question for you. Can a gas have mass? If I put this on the scale, it's not going to give me a good number. But we can do this simple experiment to see if gases have mass. I have two balloons, an orange and a green one. They're tied together on this ruler, okay? And I'm going to let go, and this is going to act like a balance, okay? So let me let go real quick, and let's observe what happens. Whoa. So what did you notice happen? Which side is telling us that it has more mass? The orange one, right? The orange one pulls down farther. So we can see from this little experiment that the orange balloon has more mass than the green balloon. So yes, gases have mass. Gases have mass. Obviously, not as much mass as liquids and solids, but gases have mass. So, are gases matter? Let's see. Matter has mass. We just said that the balloons have mass. Do the gases in the balloon take up space? Obviously, right? I blow the balloon up, the gases go in there and they fill the balloon up. So, gases take up space. So yes, gases have mass. Gases take up space or have volume. So yes, gases are matter. And we just did this experiment and it told us the orange balloon has more mass and more volume than the green balloon, okay? And remember, if it's matter, matter is made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of matter. So, this block of wood has wood atoms that are close together. This liquid water has atoms that are a little farther apart. Okay, it has hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Inside this gas balloon, the gas I used was my breath. You remember from last year's science class, the breath you exhale is called carbon dioxide, and it's CO2. So, this is what gas atoms look like. Look at the gas atoms, right? And then look at solid atoms. Gas atoms are way more farther apart than solid atoms. So, in this example with carbon dioxide, that C means that there are carbon atoms in here. And we'll talk more about what the C and the O and H's and all those letters mean later. And then O means that there's oxygen atoms. So inside this balloon is matter, and this balloon is made out of atoms, okay? These kinds of atoms. So remember, matter is anything that has two things. It has mass and it takes up space. If you take up space, that means you have volume. And matter is made up of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of matter.